Welcome back. We've been gone for 2 weeks. We didn't know where we were at. I mean, last Wednesday night, I just sat around like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? JJ, how was your 2 weeks?
Yeah, it was nice. I missed everybody. It's nice to come on here and see your smiling face, talk to everybody out there. I just basically worked and did a lot of open mics. That's not all I did.
Well, I want to tell you something. I am proud of what we've accomplished. And since we started doing this, I was the last week of September last year.
Yeah, it's 22nd, I
Uh,
think it was.
since then, this is only the second time we have not recorded on a Wednesday night. The first time was Thanksgiving, and this time because I was out of town. So um, I kind of think that's a pretty good record. Do you know what today is, by the way?
What is the day?
Yes.
Uh, at the VA, they always have these days, but there's like seven of them, like uh, prosthetic pride day or something like that, or National Donut Day. So I'm gonna say National Donut Day. Is that what it is?
It may be. I don't know. It's Flag Day.
Flag Day. All right.
If you remember, I told you a few months ago, I subscribe to the great Mike Claiborne, who's been doing sports in St. Louis for decades. I subscribe to his theory that you really don't need to pay attention to the standings until Flag Day. Well, today I'm paying attention to the standings,
Mhm.
and I'll uh I'll defer to you. You go first. What's been going on in Cardinal land?
Oh, goodness gracious. I lived through the 70s, and the 70s, we knew at the beginning of the year we're going to, if we're all fighting for third place because you knew it was going to be the Pirates or the Phillies in first or second. And this year, we're just good enough to lose. We're losing games 2-1, 4-3, and we do get our butts kicked 11-2 every once in a while, and then every once in a while we win one. But since I seen you last, oh Lord, it's been rough. A we had 12 games, and in those 12 games, we played the Pirates. I'm not going to go through all these individually. I know people kind of get tired of all the statistics and everything, and I'm a statistic freak. But we played the Pirates, and they swept us 7-5, 4-3, 2-1. We were in every game. Some games we were ahead at the very end, and our bullpen would lose it. Sometimes it's our defense. Sometimes it's starting pitching. Oh, it's been really rough. So the Pirates came in. It would have been great to catch up with them, but now they got three more games on us. In Texas, we go down there, and I think they're one of the best teams in the American League. We go to Texas, and we lose the first two, 4-3, 6-4, but we win the last one, 1-0. There's glimpses of something good in there, but not very often. We come home. We've been on the road for a while. We get the Cincinnati Reds. Let's take it to the Reds. We win the first game 7-4, but then they beat us 8-4 and 4-3, just good enough to lose. And we just got through with the Giants, who are, I think, kind of equals, kind of on our level. And no, they're not. They swept us. They're superior to us at this moment. They beat us 4-3, 11-3. And today we had a 2-run lead going into the ninth inning. And this kind of sums up the Cardinal season. We're winning 5-3, 2 outs. I can't say his name. The reliever comes in, gives us a 2-run homer. We go to extra innings and we lose it. Matt comes out of the bullpen and we lose 8-5 in 10 innings. 2-10 over those 2 weeks. Now, sometimes it's the darkest before the light. And maybe the baseball gods are playing a cruel trick on us to see who's jumping off the bandwagon, because nobody's running away with the division.
Nope.
And it's up there for grabs. The Cardinals haven't stopped anybody, that's for sure. Maybe it's going to be 1964 all over again, where we make a few moves. Jordan Walker, these young guys come through, ignite the team, and we come screaming back at the end to make the playoffs. Do I think that's going to happen? No, but I can dream. But being a baseball fan, and on years like this, what's so good is we get to say goodbye to Adam Wainwright. And I just like to see him get those 3 more wins. We're getting to see Luka Baker has come up. Our top hitter this year in Memphis has come up. But he's a first baseman and corner outfielder, and we've got a ton of those guys. So maybe we're just showcasing him for some big move we're going to do later. He'd be great for a lot of other teams. Dylan Carlson's back from the DL. Jordan Walker was called back from Memphis and has done nothing but hit. He's a little shaky defensively, but he is a third baseman. And I have to say this about the Cardinals. He went to Memphis and they put him back at third. He should have been playing the outfield to get ready to come up here because he's not going to play third base as long as Arenado's healthy and on the team. So I don't know what that was about. They moved Steven Matz to the bullpen. You got an idea about that? I don't know. It's dysfunctional right now.
There's I've never seen the Cardinal organization operate like this since the Dow Maxwell years.
The Vern Ramp. I think it's like, to me, it was like the Vern Ramp was the last time I seen it. Really, just I don't know.
The late '80s, early '90s with Dow Maxwell as the GM were pretty. Yeah.
I put that on when Augie passed away. The kids just didn't care. I mean, it just didn't seem they were into it. Like Augie wanted the team. There seemed like there was more of an effort there when Augie was around. But yeah, if I knew the answer, I'd tell you. I'm just a baseball fanatic, and I wish I could figure it out. I love my Cardinals no matter what. I enjoy watching them, but man, it's just heartbreak after heartbreak. I don't have much hair anywhere, Vince, but I'm losing what little I got. I'm going to be down to just sideburns. It's going to be this has been a rough year. Lipitor going into the rotation, though, that's interesting. He's going to be one of our future linchpins, and I enjoy watching him. I got some stats on him in a minute. They've moved Tommy Edman to center field, and he's like our fourth center fielder. And with Dylan Carlson back, I thought they'd put Carlson in center, but no, they're leaving Edman. He's done a good job.
Oh, he made a fantastic catch. Was it last night or 2 nights ago? Just fantastic.
I love Tommy Edman. I think
he's an athlete. He can play anywhere.
He's got good baseball IQ. I think he's a good batter. A lot of friends have said, why don't they just let him bat? I think it's right-handed. Lefty, his stats are down, but right-handed, he might be a 300 hitter if he just batted right-handed. I don't know. It's in the Cardinals' hands. And Dylan Carlson's another one of those that switch hits, and he might be better off just batting one side of the plate. But again, what do I know? But Steven Matz, since we signed him, it's been looking like a bust. He's had 10 starts this year in 5 games out of the bullpen. He's 0-7, 20 walks, 52 strikeouts, and a 5.49 ERA. That's brutal.
Yeah. There's a couple of head scratchers that I wanted to bounce off of you. Number one, do you know why Steven Matz pitched today? What were you down to nobody? Were you being persecuted for some reason? Did somebody have someone held hostage with a knife to the throat? You're in a tailspin, and you have a chance to pull this out in extra innings. I know the home runs, devastating. I don't know why Steven Matz. I was just telling my wife this morning how Steven Matz is terrible, but they're paying him a lot of money. And then the last I noticed, I think the Cardinals were up 3-2 or something like that. And then I found out that they lost. She told me they lost in extra innings, and Steven Matz came in. I thought, why is he pitching?
I would put him as a long reliever. Yeah, in those big situations, because the 4 big ones, Helsley's on the DL, Cabrera, Hicks, and Gallegos, and they pitched Hicks and Gallegos. I don't know why Cabrera didn't come in today. I'm not aware of how much he's pitched lately and how often or what's going on with his health. But man, I would have rather seen Stratton or Palante in there today.
So Grabowski,
get him out. Come on out. Yeah. I've been doing a few arm exercises. I'm good for a few screwballs or something. Maybe a pop out.
The second thing, I'll give you what's going on from Cub Nation perspective. When we had our series against the Cardinals and Contreras did the thing taunting the fans, it did not go over well. And I can understand why the fans did nothing but backed him up. And maybe that was to management, but he did it towards the fans, and it was offensive. And so now he's since then he's hitting about 100. And I read an article where he says Jeff Passan wrote an article, he has no confidence right now. They've screwed with him. You're a catcher. You're not a catcher. You're a catcher. Um, but my big question is this: if he's in such a tailspin and you've got enough offense, why are they still hitting him fifth?
I don't know.
Why
He was out of
drop him
lineup
down
today.
to
Yeah.
seventh, eighth, ninth? Let him get his head on straight. Don't put him in the situation where he feels like he has to drive in runs. Contreras, I do know this. He's a very emotional player, and we've seen the positive side of that in Chicago. We never really saw the negative side of it. But this is the negative side of being an emotional player. You go into a hellacious tailspin, coupled with, management don't like you at the position they paid you millions of dollars to play. And, the pitchers have approached management saying they don't like you. He's it, that emotion is now a huge negative, and I just don't understand. This is another head scratcher from the Cardinals this year, and I don't want to sound like I'm bashing the Cardinals. I'm
No,
saying they're
no.
head scratchers because I've never seen
Yeah.
this from the Cardinal organization. Why not drop him down in the lineup? Why are you keeping him batting fifth? I don't understand it. I don't know if this is a call coming from um, upper management
Marcelo.
saying keep him at fifth, or if this is Marmel's choice. There's just something different this year. My wife talked about it a lot. This is just a weird year for the Cardinals. It doesn't feel like the Cardinals. And then you read the article by Zach Gallen, which he had a reason to miss a workout, and then next thing they traded him away. And now there's the buzz that there are players who don't want to come to St. Louis because of the Cardinal way. They feel like I'm going to go do that. I've been successful at other places and we've won. Why would I go to St. Louis when I have to conform to some kind of way? Um, it's just a real screwy thing. But back to my question, do you have any idea why they're not dropping him in the lineup?
I thought it was a confidence thing at first. Like, hey, we're going to show that we believe in him and support him. Even after they took him out the catcher spot, we're going to put him back in there, act like nothing ever happened, and we were going to support you. But he just hasn't hit a lick, like you said, since that time. Today they moved Jordan Walker up to. They're starting to put Goldie and Arenado apart a little bit and putting Donovan, then Goldie, and then I believe it was Gorman, Arenado, and then they moved Jordan Walker up. He's always been in like the eighth, seventh, eighth spot. They moved him up to fifth today because Kisner was batting eighth, I believe it was, and Edmund was batting
And I'll
ninth.
tell you this, if I'm Contreras and I'm looking over my shoulder and I'm seeing Kisner, who's coming around offensively with some pop, and Kisner's always been a good defender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's like, and they obviously would rather have him there. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done this whole DH debacle with Contreras. And I could see where and
Well,
people say, well, he's making so much money, he should be happy. Man, he's a human being.
oh yeah,
And I don't care.
nobody likes to lose. Nobody
Yeah,
likes
I,
to
I
lose.
don't care if he's making 100 million or I don't care if he's making $10 an hour. People are people, they have emotions, and it just seems like, to use a popular vernacular, he's been crapped on a lot since the signing. And when I look in at, Rant Nation, which every team has a Rant Nation,
Yeah.
just read comments. They're really getting onto him, and I know that's not helping him at all.
Oh no, no. I don't belong to any of those. I try to be positive, but it seems like everybody's pressing. It's just like it's really tense right now. Arenado made a error the other day that cost the team, but I don't blame Arenado. He's not a machine. He's as good as you can get. Contreras dropped the ball when Edmund came home. But again, that happens occasionally, but it just seems like everybody's pressing. I'm going to go over few little stats here, and it just seems like we're hitting at a decent pace, but we aren't getting that hit that brings them in. Sometimes we only score with the home runs. If we don't hit home runs, we're in trouble. And we almost need like 3 hits to get 1 run. So we're not getting that third hit. So I don't know. I don't know. There's not a guy on that team. I'm not, don't think shouldn't be on the team. I enjoy watching them. I like the chemistry of the guys. They're a tough lot, but we're just in last place right now. And It doesn't. There's nothing looking good at this moment. Just when the starters start pitching better, I know Flaherty got into it with somebody from the Giants yesterday. I was up at an open mic and I read about it. I didn't actually see that one, but so it just seems like And when the summer heats up, tempers are going to flare. I don't know what's going to happen. But they do have the nucleus, I think, for years to come to be a decent team. But right now, I don't know what the pieces you take out, what pieces you put in. I don't know. I know Goldie wanted to come here, and I know Arenado wanted to come here. And there may be some other players that don't particularly like St. Louis. I know if you're a big-time player that can get a lot of endorsements, why come to St. Louis? You're not going to get – you might get you might get emos or what's that – Ted Drew's endorsement, but that's about it. You're getting in St. Louis. So I understand why people want to go play in LA and New York and stuff like that.
Now, do you consider that are they going to be buyers or sellers this year? They're kind of they're about 3 games below the Cubs right now. I see the Cubs as sellers, and I'll get into that maybe in a week or two, why I think they are going to and why I think they should be sellers. The Cardinals are much harder to peg because even though they're behind the Cubs, they're closer to being a division winner than the Cubs. So I don't know if
that's nice of you to say. That's nice.
Oh well, if I'm the GM of the Cardinals, I'm looking to buy to win this division. I think the division's up for grabs. If I'm the GM of the Cubs, I'm looking to sell to add more young talent to the young talent we already have. So
I like your core guys. I like your core guys a lot. I think you're gonna
all 2 of them.
Well, we know about you. Always talk about that Krog kid. I'm excited to see him finally get to come up here. But I was going batting. The Cardinals are 9th in the National League. That's not good. We're hitting 250. The Cubs are 11th at 245. The top hitting team in the National League right now is Arizona. Who would have thought that a team 264? So yes, we can improve in our hitting and scoring definitely. Pitching, the Cardinals are 8th. I got a 4.38 ERA, just right in the middle, and the Cubs are 5th with a 4.16. The top pitching team in baseball is the Padres, but they're not winning. They're not tearing it up, but they do have good pitching. And fielding, the Cardinals are 3rd, but it's just decimal points between the top guys and the middle guys. The Cardinals are 3rd with a 98.9, and the Cubs are 9th with a 98.6. So everybody's all bunched in there together. And Arizona's the top fielding team. So they're the top batting and the top fielding. So look out for Arizona. This year's been odd too. You got the Mets who spent $420 million on their payroll, and they're not doing very well at all.
Mets and the Phillies are.
Yeah, the Padres, the 4 what they call Hall of Famers, and they're struggling. And then you got teams like Arizona, and there's some surprises in
Pittsburgh, Miami, Cincinnati's playing well.
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, Cincinnati is so fast. If you just come on a grounder, charge it, and throw it, they may leg it out. That's that kid
has made them even faster.
Oh my gosh. He says he's the fastest man on the face of the earth.
I believe him.
MLB, I don't know. He might be. Let's get Bolt out there in a 50-yard dash with him.
A few weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, when Cincinnati came in and swept us, that's before they had this kid up. And they were running on us like it was nobody's business. And we were ill prepared for that kind of athleticism on the base paths. We just weren't. Hopefully next time we play Cincinnati, we have more of a game plan to shut down the running game. But yeah, if they get on base, they're going to run. And if they run, you're in trouble. They're not the 82 Cardinals, but in today's baseball world, that kind of speed is very difficult to contend with when every other team is just trying to go with launch angle, home runs, power rally, so on and so forth. It's hard to prepare for a running team when there just aren't many running teams anymore.
That's right. Yeah. I'm telling you. And with the new rules, it does seem like it sets up for stealing and things like that. I know there's a kid over in Oakland you might want to talk about later, that Ruiz. He looks pretty good. He's got 30 stolen bases already. We're just in mid-June, you know. So how's things over in Cubland?
Well, since we last spoke, we were 5-5. Um, it included a 4-5. We finished the West Coast swing. We played our first game last week when we were recording, or before we recorded. So we were 5-5, which is not going to gain any ground, but it's certainly keeping us afloat. The highlights have been Stroman has been 2-0 in this stretch the last 2 weeks. Miguel Amaya has been called up, and it looks like we are going to carry a third catcher. He can catch, he can throw. He caught the Hendricks gym, and I'll get into that. And he's got some offense to his game, so I think we're going to have him up because he is so versatile. And God love him. From our top prospect to almost off the chart because of injuries, and he couldn't get on the field and stay on the field. And this year, without having played a full season since before COVID, he's playing so good at Double-A. They sent him to Triple-A. He's playing, we call him up, and he played good for us. We sent him back down. Now I think he's up for good. So very happy about that. Last Saturday's game, we played the Giants. Kyle Hendricks pitched. I haven't seen Kyle Hendricks pitch like this for about 4 years. Kyle Hendricks is not going to throw 90 miles an hour, and he did not throw one fastball 90 miles an hour in that game. But however, he has to have like an 8 to 9 mile an hour difference between his fastball and his changeup to be effective. You can't throw the changeup too slow, because if you throw it too slow, they recognize it too quickly and they're not going to swing, or they're going to slow their swing down. And that's one of the issues. Another issue you have is if you don't have enough of a gap between your fastball and your changeup, they can time that too. And that's been one of his problems, as his velocity has went down and he can't touch 90 anymore. That changeup hasn't went down enough. Plus, he's had the shoulder issue, so he couldn't spot it like he used to. He put everything together on that Saturday start. The first inning, Talkman had a diving catch in center field, and then Hendricks just rolled. He pitched 7 2/3, no hit ball. Gave up the one hit, finished up the inning, and then they took him out, which I don't blame him. There's no reason to keep him in there because he is still technically coming back from an injury. So,
right.
But he is such a fun pitcher to watch when he is vintage. It's Greg Maddux like. He's not blowing anybody away. Everything they hit is soft little tappers, little pop-ups, lazy fly balls. And he was just a thing of beauty. And I don't want to sound like I'm using too much hyperbole here, but it was a thing of beauty Saturday's game. And what I really liked about it was he had Amaya behind the plate. And the previous start he had with Amaya, he had 3 clock violations because they couldn't get on the same page. Well, the electronic thing, if the pitcher wants to shake off the catcher, you really can only do that. You only got time to do it like twice. So if you don't like the first pitch and you get the second pitch, you don't like that, you either throw the pitch you don't want or you're going to take a clock violation. Took 3 clock violations. They got together. And Hendricks, the pitcher, can call the game to the catcher if so, it doesn't have to be the catcher dictating to the pitcher. So Hendricks was using the deal to tell Amaya what the next pitch was, and that worked perfectly. They were on the same page too. And Amaya, being he's probably never caught anybody like Hendricks, who doesn't throw hard, who's just a fastball, changeup pitcher, an occasional curveball, which isn't a bad curveball, but he will drop that occasional curveball in there. Amaya just did not have a schema for how Hendricks pitched, and they got on the right page the second time. It was just a great game. Mervis and Morel hit home runs that game. it was a Fox game, so it was
Oh, that's
pretty cool, you know. So um in other news, I'm skipping over all the bad stuff. Bellinger is doing his rehab in Iowa. He went over 3 yesterday and he played first base. So he's on the way back. And when Bellinger went down, we've had Michael Talkman been playing a lot of center field. He's played some for the Dodgers, and I think the last team he played for may have been the Yankees, if memory serves me correctly. He's been filling in really nicely. He's been hitting. Like I said, he had that diving catch in center field in the first inning of the Hendricks gem. So he's been a surprise. So when Bellinger comes back, I'm pretty sure Topman's going to stay because he can play all 3 outfield possessions. I thought he should have been on the roster to open the season, but instead we were stuck with Edmund Rios and Torres and people who aren't around anymore. So um, very happy for that. So let me tell you about the Hall of Fame visit in the
I've been
baseball.
waiting for this. This is going to be great. I've never been, and so many people said, "How did it go?" And I said, "I don't. This is going to surprise me." So please, take the floor, sir.
Okay. It, no criticism of my parents, none. But my parents were divorced when I was 3. My mom was an LP and my dad didn't miss child support. It wasn't like that. But my dad is a social worker. My dad didn't make a ton of money. So for people like me, kids like me, we didn't go to Disney World. We didn't go see the ocean. We didn't go to the mountains. A vacation for me was taking a week to go to southern Missouri or Wisconsin and do fishing. That's what I did. So when I was growing up, Disney World, that was what other kids did. Go to the mountains and ski. That's what other kids did for vacation. Um, go to the ocean. That's what other kids. So I grew up wanting to do these things and I didn't have the opportunity to do them. And for instance, I didn't go to the mountains until I was 18 years old. I finally got to go to the Rockies. I didn't see an ocean until I was 30, 29, 30 years old. I didn't go to Disney World till I was, gosh, 35. I finally got to go to Disney World. You know, I'm like a little kid, 35. Oh, I'm going to
Yeah.
Disney World finally. Um, and on that list was the Hall of Fame. And I'm getting ready to turn 57, and I I have been by that area of New York before, but at the time it was vacation with the kids, and I knew they didn't want to do this. And I didn't want it to be a situation where I was somewhere where the kids were bored. Let's get out of here, Dad, you know, something like that. So um, the reason it took me so long to get to the Hall of Fame is because if you're going to Cooperstown, that's all there is. There's nothing by there.
Oh, really?
There's no major highways from big cities. You're going through, you know, little 2-lane highways. There's no airport nearby. It's it's smack dab in the middle of
Is there train? Is there train
Europe.
tracks? Can you take the
No,
train? No.
no,
Oh,
nothing. No,
huh.
that you literally have to drive there. So Max and I, well, it started off me and my wife and Max were going to go, and Kathy dropped out, and so Max and I we were kind of putting this together, and then we decided we would on the way there we would drive, we'd stop in Pittsburgh and see a game because I've always wanted to go to PNC Park. Then we'd go to the Hall of Fame, spend a couple of days in Cooperstown, and then on the way back, I said, why don't we, you know, we're going to be going by Cleveland. Why don't we just see if we can go to a game in Cleveland, which we did. So it was a fun trip. And I'll kind of go through it. And there's going to be a video after this, a little video, so you can see, you know, what we're doing. But um, went to Pittsburgh, which was our longest leg. And we also lost an hour. So
Yeah.
um, we get to Pittsburgh. We left at 6 in the morning from his mother's house in Kirkwood. Get to Pittsburgh. It's about 5:30, and we're about 20 minutes from the stadium, so we have to go to the stadium quickly. Well, I had stopped in Ohio to get fuel at one place, and my debit card was rejected. And I thought, oh, that's weird. So I put a couple of other credit cards, and they were rejected too. So I figured, there's something wrong here. So I go inside, and it would run. My debit card would run as a credit card inside. So I got some gas, and then we ate at Subway, and it worked there. And I didn't think much about it. Then we get to Pittsburgh, and I go to pay, and I give my debit card for parking, paying for parking. I give my debit card. They said it's rejected.
Uh-oh.
How much is parking? $12. I never carry cash on me. Fortunately, Max had $13. I feel bad because one of them was a $2 bill. He had a 10, a 2, and a 1. So he had to give up his $2 bill. And I'm sure that he's for that. So that's one thing I got to do, Max, is replace your $2 bill. But anyway, we go in and we try to get food. And again, the debit card's rejected. So I used another credit card and I got food. And by the way, McCutcheon just led off the game against the Cubs with a home run. So it's 1-0 Pirates already. But anyway, so we're at the stadium, and what I did is I don't take all of my money with me. All the money stays with Kathy, and I have her Venmo me money every day in case something weird happens like this.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there in the stadium. I'm trying to enjoy the game, and I am enjoying the game, but my mind's on what is going on here? What's wrong with my debit card, so on and so forth. And then it hits me. I do have my business account at the same bank, so I can just transfer all my money from one account to the other account and still use it. So it was okay. But anyway, that was just kind of a weird way to start the trip. But we go to Pittsburgh. They're playing the Athletics, the 12 and 50 Athletics, and it's a good game. It's tight through the whole thing. The fans are great. Not a huge crowd there, but the fans are great. I did not know that Pittsburgh had such good fans, knowledgeable fans, diehard fans, which is great considering they've went through so many losing seasons in the past 40 years. So that was really cool to experience the fans. We're sitting out in left field bleachers, and we I
Are
think
you wearing Cubs clothes? Are you in your Cubs or just neutral clothes?
I don't think I think I'm wearing my Cub hat. I don't remember.
And they're fine. They're cool. They're no problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no problem. So anyway, towards I think in the bottom of the eighth, McCutcheon hit a sacrifice fly. The Pirates took the lead, and then they won it in the ninth, and that was neat. And the park was really cool. Hold that thought there. So the next morning we get up, we drive to Cooperstown. We get into Cooperstown, and we've noticed that it's very dark there, like overcast. But the app says that it's sunny outside. We were victims of the Canadian wildfire. The whole week we were there, we didn't see the sun. It was like terrible. So anyway,
no money, no sun. This is getting crazy.
We had money. We just had one card that wasn't working anymore. I did call and I found out that through fraud that I had went to there was a skimmer on that particular thing. That's how I was got, which made me paranoid every time I got gas after that. But anyway, so I didn't lose any money. They just froze the card and they said, "Did you have a $150 for gas?" I said, "No, I drive a Chevy Spark, $150 and fill up the entire cab of that." So anyway, we got that straightened out, but we didn't see the sun because of the Canadian wildfire. So we get there and our tickets are for Wednesday morning. So Tuesday we see some of the sights, we get some food, and it's just a little town. And the Baseball Hall of Fame is so nondescript. It's not like this big building. It's just kind of there's shops. There's the Baseball Hall of Fame. There's houses. It's like very nondescript. So, so we get up Wednesday morning. We go to the Hall of Fame. First, we go to get something to eat, and the diner that we went to there was no seating anywhere. So we decided we just go to a bakery. We each got, I think I got a muffin and Max got a cinnamon roll, and we just ate and we walked to the Hall of Fame. We were one of the first to get there. Um, it was everything that I had expected. Um, the the displays were perfect. You go in and you watch a movie, like a 17-minute movie to begin with. It brought me to tears. I mean, I was
I'm that
anyway,
way too.
yeah, it just tugged at my heart. And then um going through it, I took some pictures, um, but I didn't use flash. And the reason I didn't use flash is because everybody else was taking pictures with phones. I was the only one there that had a camera, like a big camera hanging, and my flash is going to be big, and
Enormous.
so I'm just gonna, turn up the uh, uh, aperture and do it that way. And the pictures came out okay. I'll do a dump, photo dump within the next few days. So I got to see everything I wanted to see in the I I'll save the plaques for later, but got to see everything I wanted to see. Some things that I thought were very interesting. There was a pretty big display on the Women's Professional Baseball League. It was pretty big. I thought,
That's
oh, that's
cool.
pretty cool.
The peaches.
It was as big as the Babe Ruth display. The Jackie Robinson Negro League and that history that has a pretty big display, and that was really cool to read all that. Um, Saying things like the old catcher's mass and stuff like that was just awesome. Um, but a few things that I noticed, there's a section, a display on the PED era. They have
Really?
a mannequin of Sosa and McGuire. And I thought maybe they would whitewash it a bit. They didn't. They just said, these people took PEDs. Here's the history of the PED in baseball. Boom. It was like, wow, pretty honest. I thought maybe they would
Yeah.
be in the Hall of Fame. But they have a big display of Aaron's home run record. They have a big display of Ruth. I don't remember seeing anything about Barry Bonds, and I didn't even realize it until Max brought it up. Did you see? I didn't see anything about Barry Bonds being the home run record. I didn't either. I mean, Ricky Henderson's stolen base record, Jack Chesborough winning 40 games one year's in there.
Nolan Ryan, all that strikeouts and
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, and it was like, huh, I, I, I wish we would have realized that before we were gone, because I would have wanted to go in and see. Is there anything about Barry Bonds' home run record? There's gotta be. I must have just missed it. It is a little bit of information overload. Um, so that was
Can
really
can
cool.
you see it all in one day? Can you go through
Oh
the
yeah, we
you're
we
good.
saw the
Okay.
whole thing in about 2.5 hours. So
Okay.
yeah, we had the whole day for it, but we just went at our leisurely pace, looked at what we wanted, read what we wanted, and stuff like that. You don't read everything. If you read everything, yeah, it's going to take you a week, but
Yeah.
we did it in about 2.5 hours. Some of the neat things that are in there are from like people that definitely weren't Hall of Fame people, but just normal everyday people that are everyday ball players, that, oh, that's kind of cool. I remember this guy, the baseball card collections you would have thought were really cool. I really thought those were cool too. So then we went through the like seasons and specialized displays, and then finally we went to the room where the plaques are, and that was so cool. I got a lot of pictures of plaques. I was in the photo dump. I got a lot of Cardinals. I got
Ernie
Nina
Banks.
Slaughter for you,
Oh, yeah. There.
and I got a lot of pictures in there, and it felt like a holy place. It really did. I
It
mean,
did.
it's going there and it's like, whoa, I'm now in it. Another thing I do want to say is, I hear so many people say that Pete Rose needs to be in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame. He's not enshrined. He is everywhere.
I
I
would think.
have pictures in the photo dump. You're going to find a lot about Pete Rose in there because it's not like they say, oh, this guy sucked or this guy gambled, so we're keeping him out. No, he's just not enshrined. Just like Shoeless Joe Jackson's in there, but he's not enshrined. So I I I think, and this is my personal belief, Pete Rose is getting what he deserved. You don't gamble because it's in every clubhouse in the Major League Baseball, and he played baseball for about 800 years. He knew the rules. he transgressed them. He does not deserve enshrinement. But when
I
people say
agree.
he needs to be in the Hall of Fame, he's in the Hall of Fame. He's all over the place. So anyway, so after the Hall of Fame, we got out, and I decided stupidly, hey Max, why don't we hike up the mountains? And went to the other side of the lake and go to the mountains. Says, watch out, there are bears here,
Oh
and
man.
also, beware of ticks because there's Lyme disease. So we walk up the mountain, and I am hacking on it. I know I'm fat and out of shape and all this other stuff, but I didn't think I was this bad. So I say we got to get off the mountain next. So we get off the mountain. Max in good shape and loves to hike. I feel bad I messed that up for him. So we stayed another night in Cooperstown, and then we got up the next morning to drive to Cleveland. Well, my youngest daughter Violet was in Buffalo at the time with a friend visiting her family. So being we were driving by Buffalo, we actually met them for lunch and had some authentic Buffalo wings and nice and great pizza. So that was really cool. Then we drive into Cleveland, and we get the settled into the hotel and relax. We have a few hours to relax, and then we get something to eat. Then we go to the stadium, and I was excited to go to PNC. To me, Cleveland was just going to be another stadium. I was blown away. Or Progressive Field is beautiful. It may be, I'm biased about Wrigley because, but
It's a great ballpark.
it is a beautiful ballpark, a huge entryway, and the concourse is very wide and open. So, in like Wrigley and Busch, you're kind of crowded. You don't have any of that in Cleveland. So we get to the game. They're playing the Red Sox, and
Two great rivals. That's a great
yeah,
series.
we're still with a lot of Red Sox fans. But Jose Ramirez had 6 home runs coming into the game, and he'd hit 2 home runs. And of course, I'm not taping these, or I'm not recording these because by the time he hit the home runs, I can't get the recorder going. So when he came up to bat the third time, I had my phone recording on, and I think he grounded out or something. So okay, that would suck. So he got up again the fourth time, and I got the whole thing captured, and it'll be on the video of him hitting his third home run. I've never seen a 3 home run game. It
Me
was
neither.
exciting, and you can hear the little boy come out of me and Max when you watch the video. It was pretty cool. So
He's their featured player too, isn't he?
oh yeah,
He's like the face
yeah,
of the team. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So the fans there were great, and the ballpark was great, and parking was easy there. It was just I just thought it was a great experience. I would love to go back to a game in Cleveland. Then the next morning, we just got up on Friday, and we left. And Friday was the absolute first day we saw sunshine the day we're going home. So it's like,
Ain't that something, man?
But I do want to say this. When the A's lost that game on Monday night, they were 12-50. They haven't lost since. So
The opera, you brought the magic.
I guess the Royals are actually the worst team in baseball now.
But we better watch out. We're going to be down there real soon if it keeps going.
Yeah.
Good.
So it was a great trip. And Max is not, of all my kids, he's probably the less verbal. He doesn't, he does some, but so when he told me that it was a great trip, he had fun, I knew he meant it. So I think we had a good time.
Great
And, we
father-son trip.
talked about like next year, maybe doing, the go up to Chicago, Milwaukee, drive to Minneapolis, and then come home. Something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
That is great.
So I love the trip. And without further ado, here is the world premiere of me and Max on our baseball trip 2023. Good morning. It is the 5th of June, and it is 5:34 in the morning, and I have just left my house on my way to pick up Maxwell, and then we are going to do our first leg of our journey from Peevely, Missouri to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is going to be the longest trip that we take. We'll have enough time to check into the hotel room, freshen up a bit, and make our way to PNC Park to watch the Mighty Pirates, the second place Mighty Pirates, take on the woefully bad AA minor league team, the Oakland Athletics. All right, you ready to go?
Yep, right early.
You want some breakfast first?
Yeah.
Tough. All right, we're walking into the ballpark in Pittsburgh, day one. What's your name?
I'm Chris.
Chris.
The sign guy.
The sign guy. I got a shot of you waving those signs. That's awesome. A few questions for you. Number one, will the Bucks win the division?
Yes.
Yes. And who will be their biggest competition?
Of course, the Brewers.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Who's more obnoxious, Cardinal fans or Cub fans?
Philly fans. Most obnoxious fans are without a doubt St. Louis.
There you go. There you go. And who's going to finish in the basement this year?
I hope St. Louis, but I don't know.
All right. How did you feel about the sweep this weekend?
Oh, it was great.
Great.
But it's one game at a time.
I enjoyed it too.
Yes.
My partner's a Cardinal fan, so he's on the dark side.
Okay.
I'm the Cub fan of the website. So I want to thank you for your time, okay?
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
There's Max walking into the Hall of Fame. Look at this, JJ, and all you Cardinal fans. Proof positive that anybody can get into the Hall of Fame, even a Cardinal. Although not enshrined, the chicken definitely is in the Hall of Fame, JJ. Look at this, JJ. I didn't want to do a video inside the building, but I had to because here's Ted Williams. Okay, we're leaving the Hall of Fame now. Spent 2 hours in church. How'd you like it, Max?
It was fun.
And if you can see in the back, we have all this smoke from the Canadian fire. We are so close to it, it smells like wood here. Anyway, we'll see you in Cleveland. Max and I are walking up to Progressive Field, formerly known as the Jake, to watch the Cleveland Guardians take on the Boston Red Sox for our last game of our week of baseball. Max, who's going to win this game?
The Guardians.
Yeah, let's go Guardians. You know, JJ, I was really looking forward to going to Pittsburgh, but I've honestly got to say, Progressive Ballpark is one of the most beautiful I've ever seen. Isn't that right, Max?
Yeah.
This is a great stadium. Everybody needs to come and visit this. Try to hit number 4. What do you think? You think he's going to get number 4? This is going to be history. Hey, wasn't that great?
Let me what I was touching. I loved it.
Touching, very touching. Yeah. Uh, we are going to look at the people that we think are all stars. If we had to pick the all-star game based upon where we are right now in the season, and JJ, I'm going to have you go first, being you're doing the junior circuit. Then I will go for next because I've been talking a lot.
Oh,
And
sure.
by the way, look at my cup.
Oh, this team makes me drink. I love it. Hey, we're sharing this together this year. This year, man, I don't know. It could be us and the Brewers in the bottom and the Reds and the Pirates at the top. Who saw that coming? It's been something else. Well, there's been a lot.
Hey, before you get started, I
Sure.
forgot to do something. I got this for you and Brody.
Oh my gosh. I'm so
Rich
proud.
Baggett.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
I got this for you.
Oh, I don't think I have any Ted in here. Is Ted
Oh,
in
you
here?
got
I know,
one
I
now.
know. Oh my God, that's great.
I bought this as a joke because I think it was funny. Look at that print. Do you know what that is?
That's Don Zimmer going after Pedro, isn't it, or something? Is that
Yes,
what that is?
that's
Oh, I
the.
love it. I love it. That was such a crazy game. Oh my Lord, that was wild. Oh,
And,
I
and
was.
one more thing. This has nothing to do with the Hall of Fame. This has everything to do with me cleaning out my basement. I told you, like, the first month we were doing this, I once bought a Bronson Arroyo CD. I found it.
There he is. Yes.
Listen.
He's got a ring on. Is that ain't a world championship ring, is it? Or just what is that?
It looks like it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember who all he played for. Okay.
Yeah, it's a big ring. It's got maybe a picture for one of the Red Sox teams that won it. Yeah,
Maybe.
but anyway, these are the songs. These are all covers. He's got Slide, Down in the Hole, The Freshman, Everlong, Black, Pardon Me, Something's Always Wrong, Plush, Shimmer, Hunger Strike, Best I've Ever Had, and Dirty Water.
90s
And I want to
stuff.
tell you something, it's not worth it.
Oh, Bronson. Oh, swing and a miss for
Sorry.
Bronson. All right. Hey, I like it. It's Critics Corner. This is Critics Corner, and you're just being honest. I wonder how many of those that he sold.
I got that at the dollar store. Everything's $1. I found it there. That's the only reason I bought it. I thought, I got to hear.
And you still feel ripped off. Well, hey, before I go into that, I was going to say this earlier, but I just want to touch on this. The baseball world lost Roger Craig. Roger Craig was a pitcher.
I know that.
Oh, you didn't know he passed away? You went on the road. Roger Craig passed away. He was a pitcher, and he pitched from 55 to 65. He was with the Brooklyn Dodgers for 2 years before they moved out to Los Angeles. And he was with so he was on the team with Jackie Robinson and Pee Wee Reese and those guys. That's pretty amazing. Then he goes out and plays for the Dodgers, LA Dodgers in 58, 61. Goes to the Mets, who were horrible at the time, 62 and 63.
Didn't he lose 20 games for that team?
Yes, but
Yes,
everybody did. It was just a disaster of a beginning of an organization. But he comes over to Cardinals in 64, and that's the year when he came from behind, caught the Phillies, won the World Series against the Yankees, and he was 7-9 that year. You know, nice. And he finished out his career in 65 with the Reds. Overall, his career, he still was a big leaguer for 11 years, 74, 98, three-time world champion, 55 with the Dodgers in Brooklyn, 59 with the Dodgers in LA, and 64 with the Cardinals here in St. Louis. Now, that's 3 world championships, but then he becomes a pitching coach, and he's a pitching coach for the Dodgers, the Astros, the Padres, and the Tigers. And in my book, in my lifetime, since 74, the best team I've ever seen from top to bottom is the 84 Detroit Tigers. And he was the pitching coach of that team. So that's his 4th championship ring. So four championships right there. He managed the Padres 78 79 and the Giants 85 to 92. And when I think of Roger Craig, even though he was a Cardinal, I think of him as the manager of those Giants, which we had a big old feud with that we always, and they had Will Clark, Kevin Mitchell and Matt Williams in the middle lineup, and you just couldn't beat them. Them guys come up every other inning, and two of them were getting hits off you. And I have 2 autographs of Roger Craig I just wanted to share, and that's him as a manager. And there he is with the Giants right there. And then the other one, because that's how I always remembered him. And that's the other one I have autographed by old Roger Craig. I met him at a card show. Very nice guy. And he passed away. I believe it was last week he passed away. So anyway, we're losing a lot of those icon, great players. He's a big part of baseball history. I know he's not Jackie Robinson and Nolan Ryan, but to me, I just remember him as part of those the '84 Tigers and those Giants that were so hard to beat back in the days he was there.
Yeah, he taught his pitchers to throw the split finger fastball.
I thought that was the pitch. Yeah.
And he had a lot of success in Detroit with it. And then when he went to the Giants, he had a lot of success teaching their pitchers. But his best pitcher on those great Giant teams of the late 80s was Rick Russell, former Cub. Russell couldn't throw a splitter to save his life. He couldn't learn the pitch. And just kept doing what he was doing. And one year finished third in the Cy Young, and the next year started the All-Star game. So, yeah, he wasn't like, you will pitch this or you won't pitch, but he tried to get his pitchers to learn it. Those who could learn it became very successful with it. Great guy.
Their pitching staff wasn't guys that anybody would go out and probably get in free agency. They were just good pitchers, and I think he made them a lot better. But that split finger kind of comes and goes. It explodes for a while. It seems like it's back after that World Baseball Classic. Every Japanese pitcher threw a split finger, so I think that's starting to make its way back again. But it's a great pitch.
Ohtani throws it, and Al Leiter Jr. for the Cubs, who's having a fantastic year. I mean, he was one of those tweeners, AAA, Major League, bouncing back and forth. And once he learned the splitter, he's become a stud.
Man, yeah. Well, Bruce Sutter, I don't know if he if he didn't have that pitch, I don't know if he ever would have been to the big leagues for very long.
Probably wouldn't have.
And now he's in the Hall of Fame. So good Lord. All right. Well, I'm going to do the American League All-Stars, and the voting has started. So get in there and vote. But I just want to highlight some players that maybe, because I know everybody out there is so focused on the Cardinals and the Cubs that sometimes you don't, and especially over in the American League, you don't get to see these players. So I'm going to start at catcher and go around the infield and then the outfield, and then I pick one pitcher. But the catcher is Baltimore Orioles' Adley Rutschman. This kid, I'm telling you what, he's got a bright future if he stays healthy. Catching's a tough position. There's most catchers, not a lot of longevity, but this kid looks so good that maybe one day they'll move him over to first base or something. After he gets past 30. But right now, he is the man. He's got 234 at bats already, which leads all catchers in the American League in at bats. He's got 8 doubles and 8 home runs. Now, I know that's not tops around, but for a catcher, and that pitching staff is a young pitching staff, and he's a leader. He's a young kid, and he's already kind of the leader of that team. 28 RBIs. His batting average is 274 for a catcher. I'd take 274 any day of the week. His on-base percentage is the best amongst catchers at 390, and but this is what I like about him. He's a young kid, and he's got 46 walks and 40 strikeouts. You don't see that nowadays. More walks than strikeouts. A lot of these guys in the big leagues now are just swinging for the fences, and the strikeouts are just going through the roof. But 46 walks, 40 strikeouts. That's phenomenal. I was looking at some other guys, too, and there's a kid down in Texas named, I think Heimer might be his name, and it was real close, but Rutschman is just doing a little bit better, and the Orioles are having such a heck of a year, and I think he's one of the big reasons. So that's my catcher for the American League. First baseman, you can't go wrong. I tried to put statistics where this guy didn't get it just to make an argument, but it's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. That guy is terrific. He's playing practically every game. He's hitting 283. He does have even 3 stolen bases, and he's a big guy. On base percentage 353, and he's got 25 walks and 45 strikeouts. And his home runs are he's only had 9 home runs so far this year, so he's not up with the leaders. But it's early; it's just June, and we now have another half of the season. So I say by the end of the year, he'll be around 35, 40 home runs. And look out for the Blue Jays, although they're struggling right now, but this guy just can't be denied. And there's the second best. Actually, it's Tampa Bay has a kid named Diaz that I didn't know anything about, and his stats are good, but Vladdy's just a little bit across the board, a little bit better. So keep an eye on Diaz from Tampa Bay, but Vladdy Jr., this kid, and he's young too. That's another thing. We think of him as a guy who's been around a while, but he's still a very, very young player. Second base, Texas Rangers, they don't get a lot. They're just now getting noticed by the league because they're just so good this year. But they have a kid that's a shortstop, but he's playing second. He's a veteran. Simeon, they got him. He's been an MVP candidate different years, but this year he's leading everybody in at bats. He's got 9 home runs and 51 RBIs from a second baseman. That's really good. He's hitting 288, 28 walks, 47 strikeouts, 7 stolen bases, and he's only had 4 errors. There's other players, bigger names, but they've had a lot more errors or way more strikeouts. But Simeon of Texas, that's one of the reasons they're doing so good. When they got him, I thought, okay, that's their shortstop. And then they went out and got Corey Seager, too. So they got 2 top-notch shortstops there, and Simeon's playing the majority of games at second while Corey Seager's at shortstop. So has any of those surprised you so far? Rushman, Guerrero, Simeon?
I not really. Salvador Perez is having a great year.
He
he's got
is.
17 home runs. I was kind of surprised that you didn't mention him.
I looked, he was in the top 5 for sure. I put him like 3. Kind of 3 a little bit. He doesn't play as much as Rushman. That's the one thing that kind of hurts him. They rest him a little more because he's an older guy. And so Rushman kind of got a little edge on him there, But Salvador Perez, great player. One of the all-time greatest Royals, I think, I don't know if they're going to retire his number, but I can see that happening. Well, as we go on, shortstop was one of the toughest positions. And I flip-flopped on this a lot of times, and it came down to Juan DeFranco of Tampa Bay and Bo Bichette from Toronto. Both young players, phenomenal players. It came out, Juan DeFranco is just more, 23 walks to 33 strikeouts, and Bichette is 13 walks to 52 strikeouts. Bichette 5 errors, Franco 3. Bichette a 317 batting average, and Wandy's 296, but it flip-flops on base percentage, where Wandy's got about an 8-point better on base percentage. RBIs, well, Bo Bichette has 14 home runs, 43 RBIs, where Wandy has 8 and 32. It's just close across the boards there. 19 doubles for Franco, 11 for Bichette. And I went Wandy Franco. There's 3 weeks before the All-Star game, but Wandy Franco. Plus Tampa Bay's having a great year, and he's a big reason why. I know you probably shouldn't even look at that, but I go Wandy Franco just a little bit better. And I like to show a little recognition for him because I'll be honest with you, I don't see many Tampa Bay games. They don't, unless the Cardinals are playing them or they're the game of the week. I'm not seeing any Tampa Bay games, but they're the best team in baseball right now. And third base, you mentioned him a while ago. Seems like these names keep coming back, but Jose Ramirez. Now, Devers from Boston is having a great year too, but Jose Ramirez, oh my gosh, he's Mr. Everything for Cleveland. 282 batting average, 10 home. You said when you went to the game, Vince, what, he had 5 home runs?
He had 6 going into the game, finished with 9 off the node. So
so I got 10 home runs right here for him. 38 RBIs. He's an RBI machine. 28 walks, 24 strikeouts. Again, there's another player with more walks than strikeouts, which is very rare. And he's kind of a chunky guy, and he's got 5 stolen bases. Just 18 doubles. This guy's a hit machine. I think he's the leader of that team, and he's not all that old of a player. He's just now right in his prime. So Jose Ramirez, and I'll be honest with you, I'm a little partial. I'm a big Jose Ramirez fan. I tried to make an argument for Devers, but I'm still Franco at short and Devers at Ramirez at third. It's nip and tuck right there. Nip and tuck. So I picked Cleveland. Now the outfield. I'm just going to name these three outfielders, and the third one's going to be controversial, but I really went through these stats. The no-brainers are Aaron Judge with the Yankees, but he's hurt right now, so that could hurt him in the voting. But Aaron Judge, Mr. Everything. I mean, he's only got 19 home runs this year. He ain't going to hit 60 this year. Don't count him out. 40 RBIs, a 291 batting average, 404. It's the third best on-base percentage in all of baseball. 3 stolen bases. The guy plays center field. He's that big, and he plays center field sometimes, and he plays right field. DHs, he's the whole thing. The second guy I picked was Randy Arozarena, and this hurts as a Cardinal fan. We had him. There's a few little things in there why we traded him. Who knows? Right now, it looks like it was a horrible trade. We'll see what Livertor does. But right now, another great year. He's hitting 289. I believe he's first in all of baseball with on-base percentage and 9 stolen bases. The guy does everything. He's got 12 home runs, 44 RBIs, and Tampa Bay's on fire. And there's a lot of Tampa Bay guys in this lineup. So Arozarena, Judge, and I didn't go right field, center field, left field. I just picked the 3 best outfielders. I'm lazy that way. The third guy, and there was about 5 guys that were that third guy. I mean, there was Garcia from Texas and Trout from California, but this guy across the board stood out a little bit better. And it's Kyle Tucker of the Houston Astros. Now, some people's going to be surprised by that. He last year, big play in the World Series and everything. But, and now he's only hitting 268. His on-base percentage is 345, but 29 walks, 36 strikeouts. I'm big on that walk strikeout ratio. 10 stolen bases. He shows up. He's got 267 at bats. He's there all the time. Let's see, 8 home runs, 38 RBIs, and just a solid guy. And he's one of those quiet guys because everybody, when you watch the Astros, you're paying attention to Pena and Altuve and there's another guy, the third baseman. They're so star-studded.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm telling you what, Kyle Tucker, that guy, fantastic. Now, in 3 weeks, maybe Trout or Garcia pass him up because there's some statistics that they're better than him in some of that. But across the board, I believe he's the best. DH, I just say DH, and everybody in unison can say Ohtani. There ain't nobody better. And plus, then you can have him on the team and coming out of the bullpen if you absolutely need him. He'll do a little World Baseball Classic thing there at the All-Star game. But I just want to show some of Ohtani's stats here. 295 at bats, or is that might be 4? I can't remember writing. 245, I believe it is. He has 20 home runs, 50 RBIs, hitting 291. Let's see, 9 stolen bases, on base percentage of 362. 29 walks, 65 Ks. Okay, he strikes out a little bit. And did I mention he also pitches and is the ace of his team? Ohtani is the DH. And then I could pick one starting pitcher, and I picked, surprise, surprise, the Tampa Bay guy, Shane McClanahan. The kid's 10-1. I like the wins. I know those sabermetric guys, wins. Hey, you're there to win. He's 10-1. 82.2 innings pitched at 2.18 ERA. Now he's on 92 strikeouts. That's very good in 82 innings and 30 walks. A little high on the walks, but hey, he's 10-1, and Tampa Bay's the best team in baseball. So quickly again, Rushman catcher, Guerrero Jr. at first, Simeon at second, Franco at short, and Ramirez on third. What an infield! And the outfield is Judge, Arozarena, Tucker, DH Ohtani, and McClanahan, the starting pitching. Now, that would be a tough team for the National League to deal with right there. That's what I got.
Well, I have the National League, and I think that we can give you a run for your money. And I'll start with catcher, and catcher isn't even close. Sean Murphy is hitting 281, 12 home runs, 42 RBIs. a 920 OPS for a catcher is ridiculously stupid. And the other catchers in the league are doing. Elias Diaz of Colorado is hitting almost 300 with about 33 home runs and 813 OPS. Yan Gomes for the Cubs having a great year, 273, 7 home runs, 740 OPS. Sean Murphy's on another planet right now. He's the best catcher in baseball, I think. And I still, yeah, you got a guy hitting in the 100s now. Could have pulled the trigger on Sean Murphy, but
they didn't want to give up Lars Nootbaar. They didn't want to. I know. What are you gonna do?
And first base, this is going to be surprising. I don't think first base is close either, right? Freddie Freeman is hitting 335, 13 home runs, 44 RBIs, and a 989 OPS. And, we hear a lot about Alonso. He's only hitting 231. He does have his 22 home runs and 49 RBIs, but his OPS is more than 100 points less than Freddie Freeman. I don't think it's even close. Goldschmidt's having a decent year, but nothing is approaching what Freddie Freeman's doing. He's having a tremendous year, maybe an MVP year. Second base, I don't think is close either. Luis Ariz, Miami. Right now he's hitting 282, and that's after slumping. He does only have 1 home run. He's not going to hit the ball out of the ballpark. But for a guy who puts the bat on the ball, he doesn't strike out. He has an 897 OPS.
My
so
gosh.
He is producing at a rate that's upper echelon, even though he doesn't have the sexy home run numbers. So Luis Ariz is my pick. I also like Thairo Estrada from San Francisco. I saw him play. He's hitting almost 300. He's having a great year. Nolan Gorman's having a great year. 15 home runs. So there is some competition at second base, but I don't see him as much competition. I see right now Freddie Freeman and Luis Ariz are on a different plane than the other people at their positions. Third base, I got to go with the Cardinal. Arenado, 285 average. That was going into today. 13 home runs, 45 RBIs, 827 OPS. McMahon from Colorado is having a pretty decent year. JD Davis, San Francisco, having a pretty decent year. But Nolan Arenado is just having a little bit better season. The other two guys have a higher OPS, but I think Arenado's defense is just the best. So shortstop, boy, this one was the toughest one for me. Arcia from Atlanta is hitting 323 and has an 846 OPS. And I keep seeing him. Arcia. But I like Geraldo Perdomo from Arizona, who's hitting 285. And he's got 5 home runs, 29 RBIs. I've liked what I've seen of him defensively, and he's got an 850 OPS. So I kind of like him at shortstop.
I know nothing about him.
Yeah, I do like him. So that's my infield. It's Murphy behind the plate, Freeman, Ariz, Arenado, and then your shortstop is Geraldo Perdomo.
All right, I like that.
In the outfield, let me tell you who are having good seasons, who I had to overlook. Fernando Tatis Jr., since he's been back, has been great. Juan Soto's been on fire in June. Luis Gurriel is having a great year in Arizona, hitting almost 300. Nick Castellanos, I didn't know this, is hitting 316 with 41 RBIs. He's doing great.
Oh, wow.
Mookie Betts, 263, 17 home runs, 41 RBIs, 899 OPS. I liked him.
I do too.
But I have 2 that I don't think you can argue with, and one when I make my presentation. I hope you agree with me. I have Corbin Carroll from Arizona, the rookie speedster, who's hitting 313 with 14 home runs, 35 RBIs. He's got the stolen bases. But for a guy who came up being billed as he's a lot like Ricky Henderson. He has a 997 OPS, almost 1,000 OPS. Really like what he brings to the table, and Arizona's having a great year, so I want him in the outfield starting. Ronald Acuna Jr. of Atlanta's hitting 328 with 13 home runs, 40 RBIs, 959, OPS, having a great year. This is the guy I chose over Mookie Betts.
All right.
And I did this to give Pittsburgh some recognition. And also, I watched him clobber 2 home runs against the Cubs yesterday, and I saw him in person. I think he is a star in the making. Jack Sawinski, who is from Chicago, by the way, he's only hitting 253. He's got 15 home runs and 35 RBIs. His OPS is 924. That's when you're above 850, you're really good. He's got a better OPS than Betts, Castellano, Gurriel, Soto, Tatis. He's having a monster year, and he's one of the main reasons that Pittsburgh is in a position to be in first place. They're kind of fighting with Milwaukee right now. So I've got Sawinski starting in the outfield. At DH, I went with Jorge Soler from Miami, 19 home runs.
Oh, good choice.
Yeah, very close. I could have picked JD Martinez. They have very similar numbers, but I picked Soler. And yeah, hey, Morel hit another home run last night. In 20 some odd games, he's hitting 267, 11 home runs, 21 RBIs. He's got a 1,000 OPS. I think this guy, if he keeps it up, has a good 3 weeks, he's going to be somewhere on this all-star team as a Cub representative. It's not going to be Horner. It's not going to be Swanson. It's not going to be Gomes. For a position player, he may sneak in there with just about, at that time, a half a season. Very good. Starting pitching, I know you're going to think I'm a homer, but he really is having the best year in the National League. Marcus Stroman,
He's up,
7-4. He's only had one bad outing. Of his 12 games started, he has 11 quality starts. He has a 2.42 ERA.
Wow.
1.04 WHIP. And it was between him and Justin Steele. Those are my top 2 in the National League. Merrill Kelly's in there too, but Merrill Kelly's ERA is quite a bit higher than theirs. But Justin Steele, 6-2. He's injured now. 2.65 ERA, 1.06 WHIP. So of those 2, I thought Stroman is having a little bit of a better year. Could have been because Steele got injured that Stroman has had more opportunities, but really like Stroman. And Merrill Kelly from Arizona, 8-3, ERA about 3. He's having a great year. So, my starting pitcher, Stroman, first base, Freeman, second base, Arise, shortstop, Perdomo, third base, Arenado, outfield, Corbin Carroll, Ronald Acuna Jr., Jack Sawinski, DH, Jorge Soler, and Marcus Stroman is your pitcher.
Man, that'd be a great all-star game. I got 2 things. One, what about Kershaw? Was he close up there with those other 3 guys, or is he just a notch down?
He, when I looked at it, he was a little bit below Merrill Kelly. A little bit higher ERA. And I also, took into consideration that even though Arizona is fighting with Los Angeles right now, the Dodgers are clearly a superior team to Arizona. Arizona's playing above their heads right now. So I thought Merrill Kelly is, all in all, Kershaw's having a good year. It's not one of these dominant Kershaw years, but he's having a good year. It's probably because of his age. This is what he's going to be from here on out. He's going to just get a little bit worse every year, but he's still one of the best pitchers. He's just not the man like he had been for so many years.
Yeah. And I see it like this is like a pass the torch time in baseball. We have, with the new rules, you're seeing a lot of these young athletic guys blossom. A lot of young, good players coming into the league. I mean, we still have the superstars who are getting older, but both of our choices had a lot of young guys in there, and I think that's fun for baseball. A lot of new stars coming. It'll be fun.
Doing the research on players, Lane Thomas, former Cardinal, he's hitting 284. He's playing in Washington, which, he gets nothing out of that. He's got 9 home runs, 30 RBIs. He's got an 802 OPS. I mean, he's having a great year. He
we
may
could
be the
use him.
Washington representative.
He might be. Good for him. Yeah. We just had a log jam still in outfield. And now with all these injuries, you're thinking, well, thank God we have all these outfielders. With all the outfielders we have, Edmonds playing center. But he is doing a great job out there. But young players, athletic, I like it. I like it. Baseball's in a good place. The Cardinals are not.
Neither are the Cubs. So, well, JJ, what are you opening?
I found I've been waiting for these to come out. Tops came out right at the beginning of the baseball season, and I got those. But this is also Tops Heritage Baseball 2023s. I love these because they throw back to some of the older great sets of cards, and they can be different years in there. And I don't even know what these look like yet, but I'm very excited to see that there's an MLB emblem right there and everything. So that's what I'll be opening.
I saw them at the shops in Cooperstown. By the way, one of the neat things about Cooperstown, I don't care where you go. I don't care if you go to a restaurant to eat. I don't care if you're walking down the street, you see a couple of people on the bench. You're at a gas station. Everybody's talking baseball. I mean, it's just nothing but a bunch of baseball nerds. It was like cool. So,
I may not go to heaven, but I want to go to Cooperstown. That'll be great.
You got to go. You got to go.
Yeah.
Take Brody with you. Make a time up.
I'll step there. They'll have to give me tissue. I'll be bawling my eyes out. Well, the Tops this year went back to 1974s. I like these 74 cards. This is when I first discovered baseball cards and everything. But here's what they look like. They got the old 74 look to them. Baltimore Orioles pitcher Felix Bautista right there, coming in there, throwing some high heat right there. Absolutely love it. And they've got the rookie card thing right there by his elbow. I love that.
Oh, that's a nice look.
I love this. I'm going to try to get this whole set. I've already fell in love with it. Okay. Toronto second baseman, Kevin Biggio. You don't hear, he's one of the sons you don't hear much of on that Toronto Blue Jay team.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, he had a good season. Last year, he was bad. And he's kind of bad this year. So,
yeah. This kid, I saw the Orioles play last year, and this guy's a 30-30 man, Cedric Mullins right there. Great pose. It looks like it was taken in spring training right there. So absolutely. I love these cards, man. Oh, here we go. Bring on the Cubs right here. Ex-Cardinal, Patrick Wisdom right there. That's a great look. Yeah, there you go. Love that. You mentioned this guy. I believe this was the guy you mentioned, the Pittsburgh outfielder, Jack Sawinski.
Yeah.
Swinging, look at that. Swinging from the heels right there. It looks like he probably crushed one off the wall. San Francisco Giant, Joey Bart, the catcher, having a good year. Very good. Absolutely. And of course, in 74, they had those sideways cards too. Another rookie card. Don't know. You might know this. It's a Cub player. Jeremiah Estrada right there.
Yeah, he was just sent down the other day. He's been up this year and has not pitched well. We had a lot of hope for him to have some swing and miss stuff, but he just
sometimes it just takes a while for a pitcher to develop. Yeah. We've been the beneficiaries of teams giving up on a guy. He comes to St. Louis and all of a sudden finds it, and we look like geniuses. And then we've sent people away, and they go somewhere and find it, and that's baseball for you. This Padre guy, Adrian Morjon, do not know him. He's flipping. I
don't think I've heard of him.
Very cocky. Look at that. Flipping that ball in the air, acting like he owns the place. Oh, here we go. And this might be worth something. They don't have California or Anaheim on there. It's DH pitchers. So Ohtani right there. But it does not have a team name or the city. That's odd. That might be a misprint. And of course, it looks exactly like the 1974 cards with a little cartoon, and it gives you little statistics about them. God, I love these cards. Oh, man, this looks like the 74s when the A's were on top of the world. And there's Tony Kemp from the A's right there. Oh, man. Back in the glory days.
He was the one of the players as a former Cub. I've always been a fan of Tony Kemp. Just, he's always been that
Yeah.
serviceable player.
I like that guy.
So me and Max go to the game on Mondays, and Tony Kemp's not in the lineup. It's like,
Oh, yeah, the one game you get to go to. Ex-Cardinal, having a very good career, Seattle Mariner, Marco Gonzalez, right there. Very good. I like that card. There's 20 cards here, and I may skip over some here because, this kid doesn't get the recognition because the Padres have the 4 big guys, but Cronenworth, he's playing, I think he might be first baseman this year.
yeah, he's playing first base right now.
Yeah, there was a second base right there. So he moved.
He's struggling this year. A lot of Padres are those.
This is a little twist on today and the 1974 cards, but they took the 74 MVP and the 2022 MVP, put them on the same card. Jeff Burrows, who was one of the few MVPs on a last place team, and Aaron Judge. And look at that. Is that not classic? Love that, man.
Yeah.
That's bad to the bone. Here we go with a rookie all-star, Brendan Donovan, right there. And you got the wall in the outfield in St. Louis. Oh man, that is sharp. Let's see. I'm gonna end with one more. And this kid, I tell you what, I think he's going to be an all-star player. He may not be a starter, but he's going to be an all-star for many years to come. Brian Hayes of the Pittsburgh Pirates, right there. Great kid, great attitude, superstar player right there. So I recommend this pack right here, right there. The Heritage cards from Topps. Very nice.
Well, I'm staying with Topps 1989.
All right.
And I don't understand this because it's 15 cards, 1 stick of bubble gum, as it says there. So this is packaged in 89, but I didn't know that they did some of these different non-wax wrappings then.
Yeah.
And it feels like the cards are, oh, there's the gum. You want a piece of 35-year-old gum? All right. Former Padre Dennis Rasmussen, decent player.
Yeah.
Former Cub third baseman Vance Law.
Remember Vance Law? His dad played baseball too.
Yeah. Vernon Law.
Yeah.
And this guy was one of the least humble players in the big leagues. Glenn Braggs, the Milwaukee Brewers. I think I've used that joke before.
Yeah. Had enough of that guy.
Buddy Black.
Oh yeah, pitching coach now, right?
Indians. Yankee catcher Joel Skinner, brother of Leonard. Current Cub color commentator. Jim Tusalawesson Deshays.
I did not know he did color commentating for the Cubs.
Oh, yeah, he's great for the Cubs. He's been there for I don't know, decade and a half.
Ah, man.
Sid Bream, who played first for the Pirates then and then killed them when he was with the Braves, scored the winning run in the is it the 91-92 playoffs?
I was going to ask you, when you think of Sid Bream, what do you first thing pops in your mind? And that's exact. That play going around and
blow around.
He's got
former Cardinal catcher Tony Pena.
When we got Tony Pena, I couldn't sleep that night. And my friend came home from work at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I waited in the bushes and I attacked him. We got Tony Pena. We got Tony Pena.
And Gary Sheffield, who had a great career.
Yeah, future star. That card might be worth something, Vince. Check into that. That might be a $50 card right there.
Okay. I've met this player's sister.
Oh.
Yeah. I was at National Supermarket in Collinsville, Illinois, mid-late 90s. And I saw her name tag. And I saw that last name. I said, "Is your brother Ken Obertfeld?" She said, "Yes." Ken Obertfeld from Maryville, Illinois.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. So yeah, the Obergefell family is pretty big in the Collinsville, Maryville area.
I did not
But
know
he
that.
had a lot of siblings, and she was the youngest, and he was one of the oldest. She said, "I really, since I can remember, he's been gone." So, but anyway, uh, Albert Hall.
Royal Albert Hall. Yeah, the Beatles played there.
And last, Greg Gagne, the Twins. I skipped over a few that I couldn't remember because there were 15 cards. But if anybody wants some 35-year-old gum, just let us know. One Cardinal, one cup, one beer at gmail.com. Also, I do want to remind you to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Those of you who are watching on Mac or PC, just click the right-hand corner so you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, you can listen to our podcast wherever the best podcasts are. But if you listen on podcast, you're going to have a hard time seeing the video that we post today. So you may want to watch the YouTube channel for this.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this on a podcast, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to watch the YouTube channel. Go to the YouTube channel. It's really cool. So anyway, JJ, it's nice to be back.
Glad to have you back, Vince.
Thank you for your time, and we will see everybody next week.